Do you know someone who ruined their life in just a matter of minutes? If so, how did they do it? There was a guy I knew named Pete. Pete loved to drink, and it didn't take long for him to earn the nickname Party Pete. The problem was, I think he felt like he had to live up to it. Pete worked at a takeaway in town, but lived a long walk up a hill outside of town. One morning, his boss's wife drove past the takeaway and noticed the door was open. She went inside to check it out and found Party Pete passed out, half in and half out of the doorway. She woke him up and demanded to know what the hell he was doing. His response? He called her a bitch. And just like that, Party Pete was out of a job. But Pete wasn't worried. He'd been selling drugs on the side from the takeaway, and now he decided to make that his full-time gig. No more early mornings, no more responsibilities. Just living up to the Party Pete persona. Things took a turn at Christmas. I was at a friend's house for dinner. It was a lovely evening, good food, a little wine, great company. Out of nowhere, Party Pete showed up uninvited. He immediately started causing chaos. He spilled red wine on a guest's white dress, knocked over a photo of the host's late father, and spilled a drink on it. Needless to say, he was firmly told to leave. But this is where Pete really screwed up. He decided to drive home. On the way, he crashed into a woman's car parked in her driveway. She came out and threatened to call the police. Pete, ever the smooth talker, offered her 2,000 euros to settle it. She wasn't having it. "What use is that to me? You've destroyed my car," she said, and called the cops. When the police arrived, they asked for his ID. He claimed it was at home, so they drove him there to retrieve it. They told him to go inside and grab his passport. Several minutes passed, and when Pete didn't come back out, the officers went in to see what was going on. Turns out he had fallen asleep, and sitting right there on his kitchen table was a fruit bowl, except it wasn't full of fruit. It was packed with drugs. Pete was arrested, but the police offered him a deal. Give them the names of all the other dealers in town, especially the suppliers, and they'd go easy on him. Pete didn't hold back. He gave them every name, including his housemate, which made things very awkward when they were both eventually released. He even ratted out the main supplier, a guy who lived down the valley with the charming nickname Killer. When Pete got out of jail, things went from bad to worse. People started showing up in town, asking around at the bars he frequented, looking for him. Killer's friends were not happy. Pete couldn't stay at home because of his furious housemate, and he couldn't leave the house because of Killer's crew. In the end, his parents had to come rescue him. They packed up his life and took him back home with them. And that was the last anyone ever heard of Party Pete.